Okay, it's still spinning.
Okay, on my end it says recording on.
So should I start?
I would think so. It says
Having
recording
trouble
before.
connecting? Please check your internet.
Okay, again, I am Grandmama in Nyame here with Earthwise Rev Deli. And we are about to give you some grandma wisdom or some grandma talk from our experiences and the liberty of what we seek to do and do every day. Being earthwise is not really simple. It might sound simple, like you go out and dig in the backyard and you have a chair on the lawn, and so you think you're connecting with the earth while you're
It is
totally out.
recording.
Okay, I started a whole show over here.
Oh, right. I did too. Well, peace and blessings, everybody. This is Becoming Earthwise. This is our grandmother's talk. And today we want to reflect on the equinox. I guess, and we have Rev Deli and Nyame Selassie are your hosts for today's segment. Welcome, Aquaba.
Greetings.
So let's see, just beginning with the equinox, what is it? It's one of the balancing times that the Earth takes throughout its year long journey. And it's a balancing time of position where it's equidistant between the Earth and the Sun. And so that gives human beings a place to pause and time to reflect on our own balancing moments. In fact, we actually have the ability to balance ourselves every day with every breath. With every breath, after we take the breath in, the breath automatically pauses, it relaxes. And then as we exhale and we push the breath out, it pauses. And so, built within our breathing anatomy is that just the opportunity to let go of what's not needed and to reposition ourselves. So, I don't know, what do you have to say about positioning and balance and the equinox? Mama Nyame?
Well, I see the equinox, as you said, as a marker for
Mm-hmm.
us to stop and take observation of our behavior, of what's going on, knowing that we're about to go into another season. And it's not just outside, the temperature is going into another season. Our whole biology is going into another season that can be or doesn't have to be in sync with the seasons that nature is presenting us with. And when we just see these as days on the calendar, whatever that might mean, but we don't actually do the work to synchronize ourselves with these shifts, then we don't get the benefit that we could get, because whether we're conscious or unconscious of it, we are connected to nature.
That's a beautiful reflection that we have a choice to align ourselves with the repositioning, or we can choose to let it just really assault us.
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
because it's kind of like, it reminds me of when you double dutch,
Hmm.
where the ropes are going and you have to synchronize yourself. And after you synchronize yourself, then you can actually move into the harmony of being in there with the ropes. And if you misjudge, you can jump in there and the ropes will crash on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times that's the choice we make in our life. But what I'm really thankful about is it's not the choice that we have to make, and that actually grandmothers have played a role in helping us to balance individually and helping families to balance. And Nyame, what do you think makes the grandmother role so special with humanity?
Well, I'll first address the double dutch because we've tripped a lot in the double dutch. We've ducked in there, got our feet caught in the ropes, fell on our behind, got up and did it again. And so I think that it's more important that the grandmothers know what not to do rather than what to do. Because, we're always breath in, breath out. We're meeting a new moment, a new, I don't even like to deal with the time, but we're meeting a new opportunity to
Hmm.
breathe in and breathe out. So we don't know exactly what this next breath in and breath out may
That's a
present
good
us,
point.
but we have learned a lot of what not to do. And we offer that through our experience. And I think that's a great power that the grandmothers have.
I think you're right. I really like that because as grandmothers, we've been children and we've been adults, and we know that the responsibility for adults is to help a child to become an adult. Uh, but for a grandmother, our role is to help adults to become family. And since families are not always the same, they don't all have the same purposes, we don't all have the same skill sets and legacies. It's really about harmonizing. And so knowing what not to do, how not to step on each other's toes really allows us to keep that free will in deciding, how will we show up? What does our harmony look like in this corner? And, what does cooperation look like in that corner? uh, and I really like that analogy in terms of you keep talking about breathing in and breathing out. We've talked about how we do that within our own body, how it pauses, and how socially we can decide to breathe in and breathe out harmoniously. You've also mentioned in the past that even the places where we live, our housing, our dwelling places, need to breathe. Can you talk to us about the work that you're doing with the Earthen House Building Initiative?
Yes, this comes from ancient times, and in my mind, we need to connect with those ancient times instead of seeing them as something outdated or obsolete. We we have in times past lived in housing that is breathable because natural buildings are breathable, and that makes you in harmony with nature because your house is part of nature and you're part of that nature as well. And even in the structural, the rectangle or square housing, it presents corners, and corners present opposition. The flow of the energy is continually bouncing off of these corners instead of having a flow. So when you talk about natural building, you're talking about materials, but you're also talking about the architectural design of the building. And when we live in structures that don't breathe and that are made of concrete and very caustic and chemicalized materials, it interferes with our natural flow in our biology, and then it also cuts us off from nature. So what I'm involved in right now is the reintroduction of natural building in our urban areas and what that really means in harmony with nature, in harmony with not being exploited financially just in order to breathe and live. Uh, so when we talk about natural building, we're talking about a whole new system of lifestyles, non-consumeristicness, non-abusiveness of nature, and nature is the other and we're the superior, because it's just not true, because we think it doesn't make it true. And when we look around at what's happening in our environment, we can see that our arrogance and ignorance of the truth has very strong consequences.
It absolutely does. I like that idea that everywhere that we are uh, can be a place that observes the natural laws, and every place that we can be could be a place where we can harmonize our breath and our being with it. We don't have to be with materials that create irritation in our aura. Uh, and I think people, if you think about this, that our auric body is egg shaped. We're an oval. And so if we're constantly putting ourselves into settings that have sharp corners and 90-degree angles and so forth, we're always putting ourselves into an environment that is cutting off and not allowing us to express ourselves naturally. And like you say, the flow, uh, our breath, swirls in and our breath swirls out. And I think we're most comfortable in environments where that breath can continue to swirl around us, so that we can feel embraced, we can feel nurtured. Uh, and it's also the pattern, that swirling pattern, is what rejuvenates us. You know, that's why when we get to waterways, that's why we feel so rejuvenated, because those natural swirling patterns are there.
And
Yeah.
and you know what? Biology wise, we think of lifestyles because we're into so much consumerism here, is the way you drive, what you drive, where you live, how you dress. But when we talk about these obstacles to a natural flow, it also malaffects our biology, because as you just said, our breath swirls, life is in a spiral. And when we constrict that flow, then our bodies can't function well, because the energy is blocked, the circulation is blocked. So things become out of rhythm. So when we're talking about living naturally, we're not just talking about trading a conventional concrete box for earth and structure. We're really talking about reclaiming our health mentally and physically and spiritually.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, so I think we're going to let that be our closing remarks for this little equinox message. And we hope that you will take that time during this season, during this time of transition, to evaluate not only your breath, but evaluate your balance in all the ways that you are being. Thank you, and we will see you next time. Apnemotis.
Ciao.
Okay. I'm trying to end the recording. Okay, we may just have to go out of the studio. Okay, we're just gonna have to leave because I'm not able to end. All right, so I'm just out of here.
Okay.
This is so crazy.